What's up, guys? Jared from Ducain here. We have owed you a video for a while now, but you know, the pandemic got in the way, but we're finally together and practicing again. So a lot of people have been asking about a drum rig rundown because we did the rig rundowns with Jeremy and with Austin. And there's not a whole lot of them out there to kind of, go by. So I guess we're just gonna wing it, and I'll give you guys a tour of the kit, tell you guys the reasons, that I use the things that I use, and maybe a couple stories along the way if I can think of any. So the kit that I use is a Mapex Mars in the smokewood finish. It's one of the 2 rock configurations that the kit comes in. And I chose the one that has the 2 floor toms. I wanted a bigger tom sound, for the music that Ducain plays. I chose this kit specifically to play in this band. It's 100% birch with 6-ply shells, and that gives us the kind of the attack and the punch that I need to kind of push through the wall of guitars that Ducain shows up to a show with. So the tom sizes, I've got a 12-inch rack tom here, a 14-inch floor tom, and another 16-inch floor tom, and then a 22-inch kick drum. The reason that I chose the Mars series is because you can spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a drum set, and one day I probably will. But as long as I'm loading it in and out of the van, and dragging it across dirty club floors and venues and things like that, and moving it a whole lot. I wanted something that I wasn't going to cry about if I got a scratch or a ding on it, and something that still sounded good. So I did a ton of research and searched and read all the reviews and things like that for a lot of different drum sets, and I finally chose this one, and I really couldn't be happier with it. It looks cool. A lot of people, when we go to a club and there's an opening band, they're like, "Oh man, I love that finish." Well, it's not a finish. It's actually a wrap. It's a wrap like any other drum set. It's just textured and got a little bit more detail, and it looks like a natural finish, but it isn't. The hardware that I use is actually all Mapex as well, but it is a series above the Mars. It's an Armory series, and if you've seen me play at all, you can tell that I'm a really hard hitter. So I knew I needed something that was going to hold up. So I went with everything on the hardware side. I went a series up so that we could it could withstand how much force I bear on it. Everything is double braced. The cymbal arms on the Mapex stuff are really articulate, and you can move them just about anywhere you want to. And it comes with some really cool wing nuts. I'm actually not using them now because I've had this for a while, but now that I'm done with the Mapex commercial portion of my rig rundown, the snare that I use is actually a DW black tie. It is a 14 by 6.5 all titanium shell. It's got a 3-position butt plate, so you can get 3 different tensions on your snares just by turning that plate. The snares are actually off right now because they were rattling while I was talking. We can turn them on real quick, and it has the magnetic throw, which is super smooth. I mean, it's really buttery, and you really can't go wrong with it. But the 3-position butt plate, you can hear it kind of really loose, kind of tightens it up, or kind of tightens it up, and then we go even tighter there. So I play with it in the middle slot a lot, but here lately I've been wanting to tighten up that sound, get it a little bit more snappier, so I've been keeping it in the tighter position here lately. So since we're talking about drums, I guess we'll go ahead and start talking about heads. I'm using the Evans EC2s on my toms. They have a really nice, double layer of film on them, and it really durable, especially for somebody that hits as hard as I do. They have the resonance control ring that goes around on the inside, and I really enjoy the sound that, the low bottom end that I can get out of them because they are that double ply. I can tune them kind of low and get like a really round sound out of it, and still not go through it. On the bottoms of the toms, I just have Genera Rezos. Evans, again, they're the level 360s, and as far as Rezo heads go, you can't really beat them. They last forever, and they're super resonant, just like they're supposed to be. On the snare, I am using an Evans EC reverse dot. It's got a hazy finish, which I really like because it's not as heavy as a fully coated snare head. So you kind of still get that ring out of it, and it doesn't have any vents like the Genera dries or anything like that. On the bottom of this one is just a snare, a 300 Rezo snare side head. I really like it. It's really responsive, and it really picks up all those strands on the bottom of the head. For the snares on this snare, I just went with the True Tone DWs that came on it. So the snare is pretty stock, except for the heads. For the kick drum, on the batter side, on the playable side, I am using an EMAD 2 with only one of the thinnest foam rings on it. There's also an Evans kick patch because I use a wood beater. Without that kick patch, I would probably stomp through it in no time. On the front is actually a Remo head, just because at the time that I got the head done, printed and everything, I was using Remo, and then I found Evans. I've played Evans. I've gone back and forth for a long time, but I haven't played Evans since they started doing the level 360s, and I really like the level 360s. But for the front head, it's actually a single ply resonant head with the port cut in it. And then I took it to, I drew that artwork that's on the front of it on the computer. Actually drew it on a napkin at work, and then I put it in the computer and traced over top of it and added all the colors and things like that, and had it printed at Brand Yourself in Huntington, West Virginia. And they did a fantastic job. And it doesn't really change the sound of the head at all. It's a vinyl print, and as far as I could tell, it doesn't change the resonance of it at all. It's super thin. Like if you held it up without it attached to the head, you can basically see through it. So there's not enough material there, to kind of dampen that head anyway. All right, so the pedal that I'm actually using is a Mapex series, Armory series kick pedal. It came with the hardware pack when I bought it, and I really like it. It's kind of basic for me to use it. I was thinking, after I bought the kick pedal, and you're kind of going through and you buy all this new stuff, and you're like, oh man, I need to get a a DW5000 or a DW9000 or something like that. But then I strapped it on the kit and started playing it, and I really enjoyed it. It's got a double drive chain that is really responsive and really smooth, and I play around with a lot of flutters and things like that on my kick drum, and the footboard is fast. There's no grips or any really texture on it or anything that kind of gets in the way. There is like a texture strip that runs up the center, but I never really even notice it at all. The beater that I'm using is from a company called Outlaw Drums. And they have a really cool Instagram. You guys should check out their Instagram if you're into custom drums, because they'll like tear down a barn and then take the wood and steam bend it into a circle and turn it into a drum. And some of them they still have nails sticking out of them, and they're like really rugged looking and stuff like that, which is really cool. They're in one of the Carolinas. I'm not sure which one, either north or south. But check them out. But this beater is it's a piece of like 200-year-old heart pine, and I'm assuming that comes from the middle of the tree. I'm not really sure, but it is super duper hard, and it really allows me to get that punch that complements the tone of the kick drum. So yeah, that's the kick drum pedal. The hi-hat stand, again, it's just a standard Armory series Mapex hi-hat stand. So it's also just as responsive as the kick pedal. I get a lot of compliments on my hi-hat sound, and I think that a lot of that comes from the fact that I don't ever keep them all the way open. There's always contact, and I can put minimal pressure on this, and it really responds to me. So that's the hi-hat stand. All right, so since we're talking about hi-hat stands, let's talk about the hi-hats. The hi-hats that I use, again, it's going to sound really basic of me. These are, believe it or not, and you can hear it in all of our recordings and things like that, because I've always used these. These are Sabian V8s hi-hats, which is going to sound insane to you people out there who are experienced drummers, that there's a guy out here gigging with Sabian V8s. I don't care. I love the sound of these hi-hats. They have a great chick. They have a great open slosh. They sound great when they're closed, and I close them up tight. They have a really, really nice sound to them. And I've talked about how it's kind of basic that I have the Mapex kick pedal and the Mapex kit even, and then now the Sabian hi-hats, the Sabian V8s. If you like it, it works. If you like the way it sounds, use it. Don't let somebody tell you that you need a $1,200 set of hi-hats in order to go out and play music. You don't. I'm example number one. So these are Sabian V8s. I love them. They're dirty. I'm a big proponent of never using cymbal cleaner on your cymbals. I heard Neil Peart's drum tech say one time that if you clean that cymbal, you're gonna end up taking metal off of it. You have the metal, the metal cleaner, it's gonna take metal off of it. So I never clean my cymbals. Wipe them down if they get kind of green or something like that, but I never really clean them. So they're dirty. They have a good patina on them, and I honestly think that that's why they sound so good. So moving over to the Crash. This is one of the newer cymbals that I have, even though it doesn't look it because I touch it all the time doing chokes and things like that. This is the 18-inch Avitus by Zildjian. It's kind of their new line. They kind of went back to that traditional way of making cymbals for this one, and I really, really like it. It's it really fits with the kind of music that Ducain's playing. It's got that older, really bright kind of sound to it. So for the other Zildjian cymbal that I'm rolling with, I have a 21-inch Armory ride. Now this is actually the second one of these that I've had. I had the other one for years and years and years, and I broke it maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago, I think. Could be longer, but I think it was about 6 or 7, 8 months. It got a crack right there on the bow, and I was so upset because I was like, man, they don't make these anymore, and I'm never going to be able to find them. But I actually found one on Reverb, and I bought it, and it's not as good as the one that I had before. It's really not, but it's close. It's very close. And I love this. I love this ride. It's got great stick definition. The bell on it is absolutely a monster. It cuts through all of the sound that we put forth, and we play really loud. So if you can find one of these, they're not super expensive anymore. I would pick it up. It crashes really well. You can ride on the edge of it really well. The stick definition from this area is really good up here on the bow, and then you get over here on the bell, and it's a great ride. It's a favorite ride. I've been trying to find rides to replace it for a long time. I go to drum stores and I play around on them, and nobody's been able to touch this so far. This is really fantastic ride. This cymbal here that I have tilted away from me, and there's a reason for that, we'll talk about that in a moment, is an 18-inch Meinl by Zant's dual crash. It's kind of got that extra dry, unlathed area in the center, and it really dries that cymbal up. And I use it a lot for punctuation in my playing. And when I first bought it, I was like, oh, I want an 18-inch crash, and I watched all the drum videos online, and then we played a show, and one of my buddies was like, hey man, you gotta get another crash cymbal. I was like, what for? And he said, it's just it doesn't ring through. So I was sitting behind the kit, and I could hear it ringing, but once everybody up front, once it cut through the sound of the guitars and stuff like that, it just basically just sounded like a china. So I was like, well, then that's how I'll use it. And so I picked up a 19-inch medium thin by Zant's from Meinl. I think it is the Brilliant finish, I believe, that kind of took its place as my main right side crash. All right, and then a couple extra things about the drum set here. I have a stick holder it's called a Stick Arc by Maxonics, and when I got it, I really liked it, and it's a great, super convenient place to hold your sticks. But I was like, man, it's a little too floppy for me. It really, the drumsticks were kind of falling out as I was kicking around on it and things like that. So I actually took a can of Plastidip and sprayed the whole thing down, and it really firmed it up. And so I posted it on Instagram saying, and Maxonics actually commented and said, that hey, that's what we actually recommend to do to it if you need it to be a little bit sturdier. So that was cool. And then down on here on the front of my kick drum, I have a kick port on it. And that kick port, it was silver, and then when I did a redesign of the front kick head, I was like, well, I think it would maybe look better if it were black. So I sanded it down, and then I sprayed it with black myself. So I cannot tell you how much that kick port really helps get the bottom end. I don't know why, I don't know what for, but it really does. It's one of the very few things that you can buy at anywhere that does what it says it's going to do. So I love the kick port because of that. And I guess other than the drum rug, it's a Meinl drum rug. I like it a lot. It's pretty sturdy. It's been across 100 bar floors, and it's still kicking. So yeah. Oh yeah, my sticks. Jeremy's back here directing this video, by the way. I forgot to talk about the sticks. The sticks I use, Vater all day long. I love Vater sticks. I was using another company's sticks for a really long time, and they kept breaking on me. And I heard that there was some industry buzz going around that they had kind of changed the way that they made their sticks, and so I decided to switch to Vater. I love them. These are the Vater recording. Sorry, these are the Vater recording hickory, and I like them a lot. Now, I've got friends who tell me that I should play with thicker sticks and things like that. I don't really, they feel good in my hands. I love the weight of them. They are just really good sticks, and I can whereas with the other company, I was chopping through a pair of sticks, if not more, a practice. I barely break these. I bought 2 bricks, so 24 pairs, probably, I don't know, almost a year ago. And I'm not, actually it was almost a year ago, yeah. And I'm not through the first brick yet. There's another brick sitting in our storage area that hasn't even been opened yet. So these Vater sticks, check them out. If you if you haven't checked out Vater, they have all kinds different sizes and artist series and things like that. But these Vater recordings in the hickory, they're hard enough. They don't bend at all. I really enjoy them. So, another thing that we forgot to talk about is the cowbell, which we'll be using here in a minute. The cowbell is an old LP Ridge Rider, and it is really beat up. It just kind of goes in the hardware bag. It doesn't really get very good treatment. But because I'm not a huge fan of cowbell, but we got a song that calls for it. Our singer Jeremy, he's always wanting more cowbell, and he's not saying it as a joke. He really freaking loves cowbell. So I have one. I use it sparingly, except for that one song, and it is just it's a really nice. There's several different sizes, and I think the sizes go along with the color of the ridge. So this one is the yellow one, and I'm not sure how big it is. Actually, someone gave that to me. My soon-to-be brother-in-law Max gave that cowbell to me, so thanks, Max. So yeah, that's the drum set. So if you're still interested and want to stick around, some people have been asking me how to play the opening to our song Mountain Mama. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a lesson on how to do that, and then we'll wrap this up. Alright, so for the lesson portion of our video, some people had asked me how to play the beginning of our song Mountain Mama. So basically, if you know how to play the beginning of the song Mountain Mama, you know how to play the verses of Mountain Mama as well, because it's the same thing. It's just me by myself. So this one goes out to Isaac and Jay Edwards, because they were the ones who were asking. And those guys are really cool. So I'll give you guys a breakdown of it. I'll play it at full speed first, and then around half speed I'll throw up a notation if you guys can read music, and you can take a look at how I do it. So I'll play it full speed, then we'll do it half speed, and then we'll talk about it. So the opening of it, before the guitars come in, and it starts on the and of 4. So you get and a 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1. So I'm playing that one by myself, so I don't have to really give myself a count off at all. Just know that it starts on the and of 4. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll go half speed on that, or around half speed. I don't have a click in my ear or anything like that, so we'll talk about it. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so when I was kind of, coming up with that drum part, we wanted something that it was definitely a lot happier than what we had normally played. So I kind of, I took the cue from like those kind of like old like 50 songs where you got the. And I kind of flipped that over. So for Mountain Mama, it goes. It's on the second one, and I think it gives it a little bit more swagger to kind of move that around, and then the tom fills and things like that. So yeah, it fits with the guitar part really well, and that's kind of why I did what I did. And that's really all I have to say. Hopefully that helped. That answered your all's question about how to play that. Check the notation. I probably won't notate the ghost notes because those are just going to clutter everything up. But you can throw those in at will. So anyway, that has been the rig rundown for the drum kit that we use in Ducain. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe. And Richie's up next. We gotta set him down. We gotta track him down. He's always moving super fast. That's not true. But we'll track Richie down and we'll get a bass rig rundown for you guys here in the next I don't know, couple weeks, months, years. You never know with us. But anyway, thank you, and we'll see you next time. We are. I don't know why I keep saying we. Like, why am I saying we? We're not talking about. Let's go. Let's do that. I don't know. Am I doing good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, real good.
Okay. I guess we'll cut that. I don't know.
Do you want me to stop it? Start
Yeah, and then I'll start talking about the song. So, what is squeaking? Alright. Oh, that was a pretty good run, right?
Oh, that's really good.
Okay.
The bass hole.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And your stick holder.
Yeah, good call. I gotta see who makes that. Here, give me a cut real quick.
And
Double kick the.
Yeah.